calling all fellow monkey enjoyers. The year of our Lord 2024 has gifted us with several monkey affairs so far, but finally we return to Utopia with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm a big fan of the last Monkey trilogy, and not just because I worship the ground Matt Reeves walks on, though that might be part of it. The last three Apes films are some of my favorite blockbusters of the 2010s. Along with Fury Road and some of the Mission Impossible films, they were some of the action films that revved me the hell up. Especially with the last two when Matt Reeves took over, we were getting some of the best plotting and character work in movies where chimps ride horses and shoot guns. This is the male fantasy right here. So when I heard about a fourth film, I was apprehensive yet excited. Even though director of the Maze Runner trilogy wasn't a statement that got me particularly hyped, they aren't bad movies or anything like that. In fact, they are pretty fun, so I was hoping for at least a solid, fun time at the pictures. And gladly I can say that that's pretty much exactly what I got. I don't think this is the best Apes movie, but it makes for a solid fourth entry in the series. I'd say it's probably right around the same quality as Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I think I like Rise maybe a little more, and that's mostly just because I feel like it has a bit more momentum. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes spends a lot of time introducing us to this new point in time for the franchise, and that was some of my favorite stuff. I really love seeing how the apes had evolved and developed their own traditions. The first part of the movie reminded me a lot of the Avatar movies and how they often just have sequences where they're like, hold up, let's just stop and vibe. Weirdly enough, most of my favorite stuff was before the plot even really kicked in. That's where this movie lost me just a little bit. It's not bad by any means. It's just that I felt some aspects of it needed a little more time in the oven. For example, the villain of this movie is an ape called Proximus Caesar, and while I thought he was cool and menacing, he's not in the movie that much. He makes his debut pretty late and doesn't have many scenes. I never felt like I got a sense of just how bad he actually was. When you compare him to previous antagonists like Woody Harrelson or Koba, it's kind of disappointing that he is the one for this movie. His goal, I won't spoil here, but it just felt a little bit tacked on and kind of left me feeling like that's it. I just would have liked to see more of him, and more of his villainous actions. In the movie, he has this camp where he keeps and controls other apes, and while our main hero ape and some of his friends are trapped there, it never really feels like they're in that much danger. Our main ape, Noah, is just able to freely walk in and about the camp, and things don't always seem that bad. There are a few scenes that play up the abuse that the apes are facing in this camp, but they're pretty few and far between, and left me feeling like there's some stuff on the cutting room floor. If you think back to War for the Planet of the Apes, when Caesar's in prison, you really feel for him, because it kind of looks like the worst place on Earth. And in this one, I just didn't get a similar feeling. If you follow up one monkey prison break with another monkey prison break, I should at least feel like it's as bad as the first one. Another thing I didn't love was that the movie sets up this really interesting conflict where Proximus is kind of corrupting Caesar's legacy and his teachings, but they don't really go any more into it than that. I thought that was a really interesting angle, and I wanted to see it explored much more, but it was sort of dropped. The concept of this religious figure being weaponized for control, and having that religious figure be a character that we had followed for 3 movies, is really an interesting idea, and I really hope they touch on it more in the future. But circling back to our main ape, Noah, I thought he was fantastic. Living up to Caesar was never going to be easy, and they did a great job of making him different, but still very likable. He isn't the tough guy leader that Caesar was, and I think that was the right call. By giving him a totally different personality, you can justify this movie's existence much more. While they do touch on the past movies and Caesar's legacy, it was always done tastefully and it wasn't pandering or anything like that. Noah is really a completely different type of protagonist than Caesar was. In fact, I think the whole concept of setting it this far out was really smart, because they're able to play with a lot of interesting ideas with the re-emergence of humans and the apes being the dominant force on the planet. Another thing I really liked was this orangutan character, Raka. He's used pretty much just to bring in the morals from Caesar's time and weigh them against what's currently happening, but he also had some really solid one-liners that I wasn't expecting. Obviously, from a technical standpoint, everything here is ridiculously good. There are plenty of scenes here that you'll see and just be like, that's a video of a real ape. The creatives behind the film were very vocal about how they filmed a lot on location, and it does show. It doesn't just feel like they cranked this movie out. There's clearly a lot of passion, and Wes Ball was definitely a fan of the previous 3 films and wanted to make something spiritually in line with them. There's also a human character in this film, I wasn't exactly sure where they were heading with her character to begin with, but in the end, I think they used her character very well to set up plot threads to explore in sequel movies. And I'd easily watch some sequel movies of these. They're just great blockbusters to have every couple years. In a lot of ways, these monkey movies give us a more nuanced look into human nature and connection than movies with humans do. But yeah, that's more or less the gist of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I really liked it, and I'd be excited to see more. Like I said, I don't think Wes Ball necessarily has the sauce that someone like Matt Reeves has, but that's not a slight against this movie. In fact, I'm excited to see his skills as a director grow, and it made me have a lot more faith in that Zelda movie that's coming up. So, what did you think of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes? And what would your ranking of the Apes movies be? For me, it's probably this, but I'm curious to see what other people's would be. So let me know down below, and stay tuned for more stuff. Probably superhero stuff. Or Garfield. Bye!